Sometimes a competition carries an aura weeks before it even begins. This season of the German Weightlifting Bundesliga saw an incredibly tight battle at the bottom of the table, where everything came down to avoiding relegation to the second division. And of all possibilities, two teams fighting for survival met on the final match day, with no room to give away a single point. To make things even more intense, both teams brought in elite lifters from across Europe right in the middle of their peak for the upcoming European Championships. So sit back, grab some popcorn, this is gonna be a good one. Alright, quick explanation if you're not familiar with how the league system works. Each team competes with 6 lifters. There are no gender restrictions, so it can be 6 men, 6 women, or any mix in between. All lifters weigh in an hour before the competition, and their body weight determines a coefficient, basically a deduction that gets applied to their lifts. Male and female lifters obviously have different coefficients at any body weight. The difference between the lifted weight and that coefficient gives you the point each lifter scores. Only the best successful lift counts. As a team you can earn up to 3 winning points per match. 1 for the snatch, 1 for the clean and jerk, and 1 for the total. And I didn't want to make it too complicated, but since it actually matters for this competitions, here's one more thing. Teams can split their lifters. So for example, one athlete might only do snatch and another one only the clean and jerk. That means you can technically have more than 6 athletes competing, but still only 6 full results count in total. Now here's what makes this competition so special. At the end of each season, the last place gets relegated. Right now, Durlach, the home team of this meet, is sitting in last place with 4 points for the entire season. Grünstadt, the opponent, is just 2 spots above them in 7th place with 5 points. And right in between them is Roding, also with 4 points, and they're competing at the same time in their own final match of the season against Kiel. So the stakes are high. If Durlach loses, they are relegated. If Grünstadt loses and Roding wins their match, then Grünstadt gets relegated. So both teams have everything on the line. They need to give absolutely everything to stay in the first division. For the club, for the fans, for sponsors, for the regional interest, and for pride. So let's jump in. So at that point the vibe was very tense. There was no clear favorite going into this competition since both teams had around the same best performance in terms of points during the season. You can see here how Group 1 is warming up in these league competitions. The competition is split into 2 groups, and in each group there are 3 lifters each from each team. And it's also a bit different than in individual competitions. Each lifter does their first attempt, then everyone does their second attempt, and then everyone does their third attempt. So each lifter always has around 5 to 7 minutes of rest, and no one has to follow himself. So it's always a bit different, but usually the first group has to build the base for the competition, because the ultimate decision who wins the point or the whole competition of course lies in the hands of the second group. But of course for them the stakes are also extremely high, especially the fear of bombing out would mean in a competition like this where it's so close, basically an immediate loss. Because when you are bombing out in a individual competition, of course you feel bad, but at least you only feel bad for yourself and for your own work you put into the competition. But when you bomb out in a team competition, it's basically bad for the entire team.
Ich sag's mal, zwei Altgediente hier begrüßen bei uns, zwei ehemalige Hitler. Eine richtig spannende Nummer heute Abend. Und ihr wisst, um was es geht, der letzte. Lena Baxter, Kauerlinger. Und wie stark, klasse Lena, danke. Sehr stark, Glückwunsch, Vanessa. Neues Gewicht bitte 76. Zum ersten Versuch für den Heim-KSV Lena Baxter, Kauerlinger. Und wie stark, klasse Lena, danke! Sehr stark, Glückwunsch, Vanessa! Stark, Sophia, Glückwunsch, Dankeschön! Sehr stark, Mia. So kann es weitergehen. Klasse. Sehr stark, Lara. Glück. Glückwunsch an Turm. Damenhandel. Schade, groß gekämpft. Glückwunsch an die. Sehr schön hier. Sehr schön. Leider nicht. Leider nicht. Den Heberinnen, den Hebern, den Betreuern und den mitgereisten.
So as you just saw, Grünstadt has a lead of 17 points. This wasn't that much of a surprise since it's well known that the Grünstadt team has just very good snatchers, especially the woman who snatched 103. Her name is Lara Dangz, is the German record holder in the snatch.
Führung für unsere Gäste. Ihr wisst, wie knapp das ist da oben.
It was very cool to see that so many international weightlifters came to this competition to participate, although the European Championships are in about 1 week, so it was probably for them just a heavy training session in their peaking phase.
So geht's. Wir gehen auf 103 Kilogramm.
You probably heard of the saying, snatch what you can, clean and jerk what you must. This is not the case in these team competitions since the snatch also gives 1 winning point. So it's basically snatch what you must, clean and jerk what you must, total what you must.
Steigerung von Vanessa Imrock auf 75. Jetzt seid ihr wieder gefordert. Helft mir dabei, die 80 ganz leicht. Für Sophia 3. So, und jetzt jubelt nochmal. Ja, Luise. Ja, genau. Oh, 106 Kilo wieder. Er wartet noch einmal. Antoine de Padoue ist der Schieber. Mit einem relativ leichten 15 Minuten. Oh, lindo. Starker Einstand. Salvatore Esposito.
So now it got really tense. If Durlach didn't completely twist this competition and win the next 2 points in the clean and jerk and in the total, they would be safely relegated in the second division. And of course, the coaching staff of both teams also watched the live stream of the Roding competition against Kiel. And that was also very close, so Grünstadt also had to still push and try to win the whole competition. And now you can see also some different athletes than you saw in the Snatch, and this is what I explained in the intro. These were just substituted basically for some Snatch specialists.
aus Rückstand, haben ausgewechselt. Im Stoßen ist starker Versuch, Glückwunsch Lukas. Sehr schön hier, Luise. Sehr stark.
After the first group, Grünstadt still led the competition both in the total and also in the clean and jerk that I put in brackets for you. So the second group really felt the tension and had to perform.
Der sitzt für Lukas, 136.
And now look at the score. At that moment I was so happy that I decided to drive to the competition and film it. So again, the clean and jerk score is here in the brackets, and Durlach very safely already at least won the clean and jerk point.
Leider nein.
So this was Grünstadt's last lifter, which meant that Durlach actually really turned around the competition, won the total and of course also won the clean and jerk. So they won 2-1, and now it was just about putting on a show.
Vamos, Ramiro, tú sabes lo que toca ahora, tú sabes lo que toca. Fuerte, vamos.
So a super close competition with great fans, a great vibe. Thanks a lot to the KSV Durlach that they let me film the entire session. So the evening also had a happy ending for Grünstadt because Roding lost 3-0 against Kiel, which means that Grünstadt is safe still in the first division. Durlach is now in a spot where they have to do one more competition, relegation deciding competition against the second place of the second division. And Roding will relegate to the second division. And if you guys want to see a couple of these athletes competing at the European Championships, it will be about in 1 week. And of course you can stream it on Weightlifting House TV. I'm really looking forward to the Europeans this year. And yeah, I will see you in the next video.